All right, good morning and welcome to Daf Yomi Yevamos, Daf Gimel number 23. I reserve the first 5 minutes for a different chol. That's what I try to do, talk about things that are not related necessarily to the Daf or anything. And we have a special privilege of hearing today something I'm personally very interested in knowing about. I sit among a kollel here in the shul and headed by the Rosh Kollel, Rabbi Wittow. You've seen him a couple of times in Yud Ben Zion, sharing words of wisdom about the Gemara. Now he's going to explain how he runs a kollel over here, which pays. How much do you pay for that?
3,000 shekels a month.
3,000 shekels a month. That is, when I was
including government funds, which is really 2,400 shekels a month, and the dollar has been terrible recently, so it comes up to $750 a month.
$750 a month. When I was in kollel for 1 month, I was in two kollel and one kollel in Beitar. I got paid $500, which would be like 1,600 shekel. That's almost double. He's paying almost double. The mir paid 1,000 shekel a month. He's paying triple the mir. I don't know if they still pay that much. Explain, Rabbi Wittow. How do you do it?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you how I do it. And first I'm going to start with the Rambam, because I want you to know that everything I do, I try and find the sources for it.
Okay.
So this is a very interesting Rambam. The Rambam says in Hilchos Talmud Torah, Perek Gimel Halacha Yud, Kol HaMesim Alibo, Shiasik B'Torah, Lo Yasem Malacha, Yisparnis Min Tzedakah, Harizeh Chil Es Hashem, Ubizes HaTorah. The Kava Me'or Hadas, Vigorem Ra La'atzma V'Notel Chayev Min Ha'olam Haba. Anybody that uses Torah in order to make a parnasa, the Rambam says terrible things. I'm not even going to translate what it says. It's very, very bad things.
I can't believe I'm even hearing this from
Rosh the Rambam. Wow. What does the Rambam say? A person has to be mefarnes himself from his Maisi Yadayim, only Ne'anam, not Maisi Yadayim, and not take from the tzibur. Just like Chazal teaches that rather than take tzedakah, a person should live a very, very meager existence. He should eat sardines and let's say the oil from the sardines, rather than take a penny from tzedakah. So I'm now going to tell you, right?
You get a cup of yosef.
That's right. Very, very good. So now the Rambam. There's a famous Rambam, and this is the schus of Chaim Kanievsky. I'm saying this right now. The famous Rambam at the end of Hilchos Shmita. V'lo shevet Levi bilvad, elakol ish v'ish mikol bo'ei olam asher nidve rucho oso. He wants to learn Torah. He wants to be like the Shevet Levi. Lo Shevet Levi bilvad. If he can sit and learn and elevate himself to be like the Shevet Levi and devote his entire life and mahut to learning. So Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, right here, in Derech Emunah, right, he says you should know that what is the pshat? He's not of Shevet Levi. Only Shevet Levi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, gave them Truma v'Maiser. But since he's not from Shevet Levi, he should make a small Maisa Yadayim, and he should only be Nana from his Maisa Yadav. He brings from the Radbaz this Rambam, Rav Chaim Kanievsky, in the Sefer Derech Emunah. Yeah. So he says that how should a person support himself? He should do a little hishtadlus, and from that little hishtadlus, he should daven to Hashem. Hashem will give him siyata d'shmaya. So I want you to know that my entire 30 years of being a Rosh Kollel with Tzvi Weber, one of the Gedolei Olam, and afterwards in my own Kollel, I always raised money l'shem Shemaim. I never took a percentage for myself. We never married our children with the tzedakah money I got. Wow. We had people, one time somebody gave us a 7-sum digit of money, and that amount of money, it was only half of it, dollars. And actually only half of it was given to the Kollel, so it was only 6 figures. So with that money, I gave to the Avrechim for several years, and and during Corona, we found ourselves in a very difficult situation because I was unable to go to America to raise money, and I had this sum of money that was given to a 501c organization, and I had actually paid somebody to make a portfolio and invest the money, and I was very upset with this person because he's a real pushy New Yorker. And he
he's Jewish. He's Jewish.
He's Jewish. He's Jewish, and he set up this portfolio, and he gave me 7 times a year where I could take money out to pay my avrechim, and right before I happened to know somebody, I don't want to say his name, I don't know if he would appreciate it. He has a hedge fund. He's one of the big people in finance. And he told me like 6 months before Corona that he expects that the market is going to crash. So I told this person that's taking care of our
6
portfolio.
months after Corona?
No, before Corona.
Corona.
So this is.
I didn't know about Corona 6 months.
He didn't know about Corona, but this guy's a big gun. So I told the guy that set up my portfolio to take all the money out of the stocks. It was 70% in bonds, 30% in stocks. You should take it all out of stocks. So the guy tells me, "What do you know about investing?" He went to Harvard, and he's very conservative. So I said, "Listen, this guy is. I trust Mr. Ploney. Take all the money out of the stocks." He says, "Listen, I'm not going to do it because nobody can second guess the market." So I said, "Listen, it's my money. It belongs to my 501c. I'm the president, the founder of American Friends of Kollel Yosef. Take it out of the market." So he says, "Okay." So then he does it, and he says, "Okay. So now that was the 7th time. Anytime you do anything with your money, you have to pay me extra money." So Corona happens. No. So in the meantime, the market keeps going up. So I asked another friend. So he says, "Listen, put it back in the market every quarter. Like take a year, put it back bit by bit back in the market." So I said, "Okay, take a quarter of it, put it back in the market." So that was the last time I had to use the guy. Now he says, "Now you have to pay him every time he does something." So then Corona hits, and the market and when the stock market goes down,
yeah.
it's like a bathtub. You pull out the stopper. Even the bonds went down. The portfolio went from $700,000 to $350,000.
Yes,
So I took over the portfolio. I fired the guy, and I've been running the portfolio for the last year and a half. We've been averaging 29%, including the last 2 months. 29% a year, including the last 2 months where the market tanked mamish. So except for 1 or 2 things, Upstart I didn't sell, but I'm still mamish, and it only comes from a little bit of, read a little bit, I make a few investments. I don't spend my whole day thinking about it at all, but we've had siyata d'shmaya. So I'm telling you that the words of the Rambam and the words of Rav Chaim Kanievsky Derech Emunah, you should do a little hishtadlus and daven to Hashem. It says in Sharach Abitachon Chovos Levavos that if a person does, he works 24 hours a day, does tremendous hishtadlut, he will not receive a 1 hairbreadths more than what was Nigzar on Rosh Hashanah. So you have to do a little bit of, now there are opinions not like Rav Chaim Kanievsky over here, not like the Rambam, that say that you don't have to do any ishtadlus. I'm not saying that the Briskerov, that's a different shita, but it happens to be that I always took the mahalach, you have to do a little ishtadlus. When I had no choice, I went to America, and after this person that gave us the money, it finished and I didn't get an inheritance yet, I went 4 times in 1 year to America because the Kohl's budget was $200,000 a year, and I didn't want to tell Avrechim that they couldn't, they had to go find another Kohl. So I went 4 times in 1 year to America to raise money, but otherwise for 26 years, the Kohl existed for 30 years, 4 years.
You've run a Kohl for 30 years?
Yeah. So 4 years, this cousin of mine that passed away supported the Kohl. I didn't write a letter to Shimon Glick, didn't write a letter to Penny Green in those days. And if I would have written a letter, they would have sent me the money like a Caspomat. But if I didn't need their money, I didn't write them any letters.
So you have such a close connection to them?
No. Once they give you money, you just write them a letter. They send you the money, the same thing. But I didn't do it because I didn't need their money. And then when I did need the money again, I did say, I want you to know that when I didn't need the money, I didn't write you. They gave me the same thing they gave me before. They didn't give me more money. I think they gave me 4. No, it didn't work like that. But you should know that everything is min hashamayim. If a person does things l'shem shamayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give him siyata d'shmaya.
I tell you, this is really incredible,
and
I
also
really like
my
hearing...
portfolio. You want to know what I invest in?
Wait.
Okay.
No, you're gonna come back. We're gonna talk. Okay. I have a lot of questions to ask you about your portfolio. That's the real stuff I think I want to hear about, and you want to. I also dabble in the stock market, so we're gonna talk about this. I'm gonna come back because it's already 9 minutes. But
okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's really important to have someone here who really backs up my ideology in life. Who also believes they have to make ishtadlus. It's nice to hear that, and we're going to get into the more details of his stock portfolio management. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Over here, okay?
This is probably what a lot of people on YouTube want to hear. Thank you very much, and we have more to come. This is the beginning of a series with Rabbi Wittow. Investing for
American Friends of
people.
Kollel Yosef.
Yeah, all right. He's going to come and. if you want to donate money to his kollel, you can be in contact with me. I take a percentage of it, but all right. It's a little long today, but it's really going to be the beginning of a big. I see a lot of people are very interested on YouTube on these financial things. So it's nice to hear somebody, even who runs a kollel, has been learning his whole life. He's been supporting a kollel for 30 years. He really believes you have to do ishtadlus. You have to make an effort. He said a little ishtadlus. He talks about a little dabbling in his portfolio. His portfolio, obviously, based on what he said, is a pretty big portfolio for a kollel. A younger man, for someone who's a Rosh Kollel, is a very large portfolio or something like that. And we're going to talk more about his portfolio. I also dabble in stocks. I want to learn from him. He'll learn from me. We'll talk about it, strategies. That's coming up in the pre-shir Daf Yomi. Let's get right into the Daf because it's already 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes to the shir. We have to finish in 19 minutes. Can I do it? Oh, you bet I'm going to do it. All right. The Gemara says, Chav Bezim and Bez on the bottom. We talked about yesterday, there's an Isser to marry your sister, and also an Isser, it says in the second Isser in the Torah, to marry your father's wife's daughter, who is not you don't share a mother, that's also your sister. Why the extra pasuk? So here it said, the reason it says the pasuk is to exempt our sister who your father fathered from a shifcha or noves kachavim. She's not really a sister. Ve'ema, the Gemara says 4 lines from the bottom. Maybe it's talking about the father's second wife was a rape, right? Maybe she's not your sister. You can't say them. But the Rava asks 2 psukim seem to contradict each other. You're not allowed to be together with your granddaughter, whether it's from son or your daughter. Because again, it's your wife and your granddaughter. Habas bina, you can't be married to them. Habas bina, dida, bas bita dida shari. But if it's your wife's, it implies what? It's only talking about your daughter. But if it's the daughter or the child of your wife, right? This is not talking about your sister, the child of your wife, right? Your wife had a child from a previous marriage, not your child at all. That also it sounds like it's mutter. It sounds like that pasuk it's mutter. The chsiv, but the other pasuk says ervas isho bita l'sagalas bas bita. You can't be married to a woman, and her granddaughter also. Any woman or granddaughter. Hakate. So God Moses coming to resolve the stira, the contradiction. He says one pasuk is talking about the first pasuk is talking about when it's your daughter, even from a rape. But the second pasuk, you can't marry another woman, and her daughter or granddaughter is talking about if you're married to the woman and married to the granddaughter. That's only been assumed. But if you raped a woman, so then you could marry her granddaughter if you didn't have children with her. You have children, but you don't have children even if you weren't if you didn't produce children from her. All right. So the Gemara says top of Chaf Gimel and Aleph Ema. Maybe the pasuk is talking about back to your sister. Maybe the second pasuk is talking about, right, your wife's daughter, where you're the same father, not the same mother. It's talking about where you're married to the second wife, and she's chayve lavin. You're a kohen. She's a grusha. Amar a papa. Or she's a mamzeres. Or you're a mamzer. Amar a papa. Chayve lavin tavsi behu kedushin. No, you can't say that because it's the stabber to assume she is your sister because there is tvisas kedushin. Like chayve lavin is considered a real marriage to her. So therefore, it's like your sister. Why shouldn't it be your sister? The siv. It says in Dvarim that you have 2 wives. One is you love your wife, and one you're snua. Presumably, the pasuk is also referring to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem likes one woman, Hashem hates another woman. The pasuk is referring to ahuva means it was a legitimate marriage, a good marriage. No isurim involved. Snua means that you didn't isurim. Amar Rahmana Kiziyana is talking about chayve lavin, so it's considered a legitimate marriage. So therefore, we have no reason to assume she's not your sister. So the Gemara says the chayve krisos. Maybe it's talking about where the second marriage, the father went ahead and remarried another woman who's chayve krisos, right? It was a sister or anything which is chayve krisos. Amar Rava, Amar Kra, Erbas Achoscha Bas Avicha Bas Simcha Moledes Bayis Moledes Chutz. Another verse is talking about, right, your sister, who's moledes bayis and moledes chutz. She is born from the house or born outside the house. Ben Shalomrim, what does that mean? Ben Shalom lavicha kayim, Ben Shalom lavicha hotze. Moledes bayis means that they allow your father to remain married. Ben moledes chutz mean they tell your father to get rid of her. Now, right, we know also by chayve lavin, you also have to get rid of your wife also. the diuk over here, this is part of the Iyun Ben Sion, we're going to talk about this, but the chiluk over here is that all the people, your whole community is going to tell you, if you're married to Chayvei Kruz, married to your sister, the whole community is going to tell you to get rid of her. If you're a Grusha is married to a Kohen is married to a Grusha, so probably only Beis Din is going to tell you to get rid of her. That's what I think the diuk over here. They ask this question. They say why Molez Chutz also by Chayvei Lavin. The answer is it says over here that everyone's going to tell you to get rid of her. You're married to an Erev, Chayvei Kruz, everyone's going to tell you to get rid of her. The pasuk says she's considered your sister. So even Chayvei Krisa, she's already called your sister. So why would we exclude them? So the Gemara says, "Ema bein she'omer lo avicha kaim, she'omer lo avicha hotze." V'amar Rachman achoschahi l'rabos achoso mishivcha v'oved v'edes kachavim. Maybe that's talking about moledes chutz, where everyone says get rid of it. It's talking about you're married to a non-Jew or you're married to a shivcha. And that's the pasuk, and it still calls you your sister. So how do you know it's talking about Chayvei Krisos? Amar Kra Bas Eishes Avicha Misheyesh Lo Ishus LaAvicha Ba. The pasuk is talking about Eishes. It calls her Eishes, the wife. Only we have Ishus to her. Pral Achosa Mishevcha V'Chavim, where there's no Ishus. We're going to discuss in the other man say there's being a Baal and an Ish v'Isha versus Baal v'Ishto. Is there a difference? You see clearly from here. There's a difference. Chayvei Krisos is called Ishus. Shivcha v'Chavim is not called Ishus. So where it says, why do you say one over the other? We would say they have a closer relationship because la'alma, other people could marry her. You can't marry her. She's an Erev with you, but the other people she's not an Erev. If she converts, or she goes from a shivcha to a regular Jewess, so therefore you have Tvisas Kedusha, even Tvisas Kedusha, you yourself can marry her. So Mara says, that's in the past, right? If she's Magayer, she's a different body. She becomes a different body. Metaphysically, she becomes a different body. Everyone knows a Jewish woman may be more attractive than a non-Jewish woman because they have a different body. Different body when they Magayer, when they become Jewish. So therefore, they're not even close to be. So therefore, Mustama, the pasuk is coming to Chayvei Krisos and not talking about Shivcha v'Eskachavim, Rabbanan. Lemute Shivcha v'Eskachavim in Alhu. They use a pasuk for something else. Say you're Chayvei twice for your sister. So they were asking, how do they know to exclude a sister of Shivcha v'Eskachavim? Nafkalu me'aisha v'Yaldeh Tiel Adoneh. It says, but the Eved Ivri is married to the Shivcha. When he leaves, when he comes free, the children go to the Adon, not to him. Rabbi Yossi Yehuda Chad b'Shivcha v'Eskachavim. Yehuda says you need that pasuk also. One pasuk, that pasuk talking about a shivcha, another pasuk talking about kachavim. Suricha, you need both pasukim. Niyach in a shivcha mishum dein lachayis. A shivcha, there's no yichus, right? There's no blood relationship. As kachavim, there is lachayis. There is a blood relationship, right? Emola, because the Gemara says by shivcha, ima chamor. The Gemara darshes by Eliezer, ama domel chamor. They're like a donkey. There's no blood relationship between shivcha kanainis. You have children with Kanayas and your children. There's no chayas. There's no mitzvahs applied to Avos Kachavim. Shivcha, the shaykh of mitzvahs. A shivcha has to do mitzvahs. She is chayav in mitzvahs, just like a woman's chayav in mitzvahs. Emolo, we should say also it should be considered to be like a Jew. Sricha, you need both. Rabbanan Yashkan Shivcha Avos Kachavim Minalu. The Rabbanan acknowledge that's only from the pasuk Isha Yaldeh. It's talking about Shivcha Knayas, where they know Avos Kachavim is not considered your sister. Maybe you learn from Shivcha, a Mamatzin is like Shivcha. Also Kachavim. Hanu Mitzvah Sricha. You know, we just said that each one couldn't be learned by themselves. There's a chiddush by each of them. Amar Yochanan Mishum Mishum Yochai Makra Kiyas has Bincha Machorai Acharei Bincha Israeli is Karei Bincha Bincha Bamin Avos Kachavim Karei Bincha. This pasuk is talking about a man shouldn't, a Jewish woman shouldn't marry a non-Jewish man because he's going to cause your child to do avodah zarah. So you see, he's still called your child. So he's only considered your child if the mother is Jewish. But if the mother is not Jewish, then but if the woman is not Jewish, then it's not called your son. So we know a mother has to be Jewish in order to transmit Judaism to the child. We see, let's say your granddaughter, the son of your daughter, the woman was a Jew and she married a non-Jew, and they had a daughter, and so it's transmitted through the mother. Her daughter would be Jewish, and their son, of the grandson, would be Jewish also. Kosher, so completely kosher. There's no pegumim, there's no problems with him. The Gemara says, "Nihida mamzer lohavi." It's not considered a mamzer. A kosher nami lohavi Yisrael pasol mikri. It's considered a Yisrael pasol. What do you mean a Yisrael pasol? It means he's a pogum, for example, that if it's a girl, she can't eat truma, she can't marry a kohen, just like a zona, spula lakuna, so too this bush. And I guess if it was a boy also, he's going to be able to eat truma. Whether it be a chalal and I don't know. The Gemara says, "Hai b'shiva," that's machlokas. Hai b'shiva umos ksiv. The Gemara says, this pasuk is only talking about shiva umos. Who are the shiva umos? The 7 nations that lived in Canaan. I would venture to say shiva umos is referring to, I don't know, the United Arab Emirates. They have 7, what do they call the seven sections of the United Arab Emirates? I don't know. Anyway, the 7 caliphates. The 7, what are they called? I don't know. It's not really the truth. It's just an interesting idea. Shiva umos. Ksiv. The Gemara says, "Kiyasir l'rabos kol masirim." Well, it says kiyasir. It's giving you a reason. Kiyasir. The reason you shouldn't be married to these people is because they'll drive your children to avodah zarah. So a person who does avodah zarah is going to try the Christianity, Muslim, whatever, or Hinduism, whatever. The Gemara says, "Hanichal Rabbi Shimon the Darish time by the Krami." It's according to Rabbi Shimon, who says kiyasir logically would apply to any nation. Del Rabbanan, they say it only applies to Shiva Umos. The literal explanation only to Umos, but Nalahu. That's what the pasuk's talking. It's about the Kanainim. So where it says Montana, the polyglot, Rabbi Yehuda. Who is the Tanakh? Rabbi Yehuda. Who are the Rabbanan now? Where we finally introduced the Rabbanan, they are Rabbi Shimon. It is Rabbi Shimon, so therefore there's no problem, and that's the Rabbanan. That's the end of Daf Chav Gimel Amud Aleph. Now we start on top of Chav Gimel Amud Beis, a new Mishnah. Misha Kiddush Echas Mishtei Achayos. You become a Kaddish, you betroth. You give her Kesef Shtar Bia, one of 2 sisters. They know there is a man Kiddush. You don't know which sister it is. Again, this is a problem. You can't, right? You can't be married. You can't be married. No sin get lazeh v'get lazu. You can't possibly be married to both sisters. So therefore, right? Because if then you might go ahead and marry. You don't know who your wife is, right? So if your wife is not, then you go marry the other one. So therefore, you're marrying sisters. You can't marry sisters, so it's a problem. Meis v'lo ach echad. Let's say this person dies. He's makadesh 2 ladies, 2 sisters. He doesn't know who they are, and then he dies, and he didn't have any children. Right? Obviously, he didn't have children. He couldn't marry them. Alo ach echad. He only has one brother. So this brother, he has to do chalitza to both of them. Even though technically you could say he has to do chalitza because they both might be his potential yivama. He can't do yibum because it's achos de kukaso. It's a sister of his kuka. That's an isser rabbanon. We'll see. Hayulo shnayim echad chalitz ve'echad miyabim. He had 2 brothers. This person, so one could do chalitza, one could do yibum. We'll see. First you do chalitza, and then the second brother could do yibum. The reason you can do this is because once you do chalitza to the lady, so therefore it breaks your zika to the lady, and therefore there's no longer achos kukasa. One lady is gone from her, and if that's so therefore the second one can do yibum because it's not achos kukasa anymore. Kidmu v'kinsu, but let's say both of them went ahead and did yibum. One brother did yibum before the chalitza. Ein motzi and miyadam, you don't remove them, we stay married because achos kukasa is only an issue to rabbanan. Therefore, b'di'evid, we let them stay married. Shnayim shekitzu shtei achayos. Now, let's say you have 2 brothers that become betrothed. They become engaged to 2 sisters. Then there's 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Zainu they are 2 people, not 2 brothers. Kitzu shtei achayos. Zainu they is a kiddush. Zainu they is a kiddush. They don't know which one is which. Zainu shnei gittim. Zainu shnei gittim. They both have to give a get to both of them. Meisu l'ze'ach l'ze'ach. If again these brothers die and they both have a brother, they can't marry them because, and even if you'll tell me they could do chalitza to one of them and then break that zakukah, so you can't marry the second one because there will be achos chalitza. So the sister of chalitza is also the rest of the rabbanon. One brother has one person. One of the men has one brother. One of the men has 2 brothers. Hayachid chol z'shtein. The one who has only one, they have to do chalitza, both of them. Like we explained, Hashnayim, two brothers. Echad chol z'yachid. Like we said before, if you have two brothers, one can do chalitza, one do yibam. Kadmu v'konso emusim miyadam. If they did yibam, if you could actually do yibam to both of them, right? Because it's only achaz kukaso, so therefore we allow the two brothers to be married to the two women. Let's say there were two brothers to each of these original men. The chadchila thing to do is one person does one of each set does chalitza to one, and one of each chalitza does chalitza to the other lady. The brother of the one who did chalitza, he's miyabim the chalutza of the other. The one who's on chalitza to the other ones, meaning they take in yibum the wife, one of the wives of the other brother, of the other person who did kiddushin. The reason being because, again, if you take the other ones, right, so then there's no relationship between the two. So therefore, you each break the chalitza, and even if it's the one supposedly married to you, that's okay because the chalitza was broken. It's normal achas so you could be miyabim her. If it's no yibum, if it's not the right woman, you can marry her. There's no reason not to marry. You can marry someone. If two brothers from one side did chalitza, so then the other two brothers, one does chalitza, one does yibum. But again, those two brothers go and do yibum to both of them. They both marry them. It's only achos kukaso, so it's only the rabbanan. So, but the other we're not mosing them. It says shma mina kedushin sheim v'surin lebia havo kedushin. Right. So we see over here kedushin sheim v'surin lebia havo kedushin. The fact that one person is makadish two sisters. So you can't. It's not Masur and Labia. You can't possibly married. It wasn't known. We're assuming that the Gemara. It wasn't known who he's Makadish. He threw money to two people. He doesn't know one took it, one didn't take it. He doesn't know who took the money. So it's not Masur and Labia because you can't be married to two of these ladies because you don't know who your wife is. So if you take the second one as your wife, you could be married to the second one, and then it'll be married to sisters. So it's not Masur and Labia. It's in our erva. Habo kedushin, we still see that it's a kedushin. You have to give a get. So the more zakamay askina, and really you could say maybe kedushin. It's machlokas and kedushin. And kedushin misur, unique kedushin and misur labia is a kedushin or not kedushin. The more zakamay askina, kshehukru ulebesof nisarvu. We're talking about really when the kedushin was done, the person knew which sister he was makadesh, and then the sisters became mixed up. He didn't realize who was who. So originally it was known. So therefore the kedushin was good because originally it was known. It says in the Mishnah he doesn't know. It doesn't say it was never known. So that it was known. So that's the chiddush. What's the chiddush in the Mishnah? Seifa is shrichale. The chiddush is for the seifa. Meis v'lo ach echad cholitz shtein. He has one brother. He does chalitza to both of the wives. Hilu shnayim achad cholitz ve'echad miyabim. If he has two brothers, the one can do chalitza and the yibum. Dafka milchitz v'ada yibumi. The chiddush is you have to do chalitza first and then yibum. Well, yibum reisha lo the kapel b'achas. So you can't do yibum first because then there's zika on two sisters and you might be having relations with the sister of zakuka, which is not allowed. The second case in Mishnah, Shmami na kedusha sheim b'surin l'biyah. Kedusha will make the same diuk. The Gemara says achanayim k'shehukru b'sof nisarvu. Again, we're talking about where it wasn't known. Where it was known originally which man was Makadesh, which sister, and then they became mixed up. Daikanami, Dikasani v'enyo deya. Lokasani v'enyo do it doesn't say do it was never known. It was known, and now he doesn't know. Shmami no, Mike Mashbalan was Seifa. What's the chiddush of the second part? Seifa is shrichla Seifa. The second part of the Mishnah is needed. Meisul zeh echad zeh shnayim. Right, one man has two brothers, one man has one brother. Ayachid call it shtein. The man with the one brother, he does chalitza. The brother does chalitza. Both women. The man with two brothers, one does chalitza on the dilim pshita. Hainu reisha. That's what we said before. Ma'od the same elixir treyatu. You might make a gzeira, because if we allow by two brothers, you might come even in a case where there's only one brother to do yibum. Kamash malan, we're not worried. The second thing to note is first you have to do chalitza and then you have to do yibum. You can't go ahead and do yibum first because this woman might be in zika to the other man, the other man, and therefore you'll probably be Mashiach Zika to him, and you'll be Boel Yevamos Lashuk. Hope you enjoyed today's share. We did it in 30 minutes. Great.